girl, Tamika Hall. You are live on the Tamika Hall Show. Listen, I've been talking about it now for over a week that we have Alysia Joy Powell. You got to say her whole name. Like it's one of those names. You got to say the whole entire thing. We have Alysia Joy Powell that is hanging out with me in the virtual studio today. We get to like pick her brain and talk about what it was like being in the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, I saw the movie and honestly was just floored by it. I mean, it's definitely one of the cinematic greats of our time. And I'm just so honored to have Alysia here with me. Without any further ado, everybody put a warm virtual welcome for Alysia Joy Powell. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful to be here with you.
I am so psyched to have you here. It is all about the laugh. Like, I know people probably say to you, look, your laugh is classic. Do they wait for the laugh?
You know what? When people say my voice, a lot of my friends or a lot of people that are fans, they say they hear me before they see me. Like they'll be going past the TV and they go, that's Alysia.
Yes. I love it. And it's funny because when I was watching the movie, at first I didn't realize that I was looking at the same person from Orange is the New Black and Mysteries of Laura. And then when I realized, I was like, that's why I knew her. You know, I'm like, you know, I got all crazy with it and I was excited about that. But you were just epic in that movie and we're going to talk about that. So first of all, let me ask you, how do you deal with the super fans who message you at 4 a.m. and ask you for an interview on their show? Inquiring minds want to know how you deal with the super fan. So
oh my gosh, when I looked, I was so honored because I was like, she hit me up at 3:30 in the morning. Like, I need to interview you. Are you available? Please say you are. Like, I was like, okay.
Listen, I hit the Instagram. I went to the website. I was like, do I need to speak with a publicist? Like, who do I need to talk to? We'll do this thing the right way.
Oh my gosh. I was just very honored by that. I thought that was so cute. So I was like, okay, let me talk to this mama. Let me see what she got to say.
Alysia was like, well, I'm so glad that you were moved to message me at 4 a.m. But everybody knows my day starts super early. And I just, when I saw your profile, I was like, I'm not missing this moment. And I figured you'd be asleep. Because if it would have been like, you know, a phone number or something, I wouldn't have done it. But I was just like, she's probably asleep. So like, no harm, no foul. I was like, I'm putting my bid in right now. Because I'm like, everybody is trying to connect. So I'm like, I got to get my moment in the spotlight with Alysia. So yeah, so I wanted to just ask you. I understand that for much of your career, you actually were moonlighting as a nurse. So I wanted to know, what was that like?
It was kind of crazy at times, but you know what? It was such a blessing because this how you know that what you're in is a gift. Because I've never had to turn down work because I was on a shift. I've never missed an audition ever. Like, I look back at my career for 20 years. I never had to do that. And it was funny because at a time when I had the first time I actually got a real job, because most of the time I worked through the agency. So I could be out whenever I wanted to be out, you know. But I was working a permanent job at Jamaica Medical in the women's clinic because I'm really super good with babies and moms. And Mysteries of Laura came through. And so I tried to demote myself to part-time. And my supervisor was going off. I mean, she darn near cursed me out. She was like, what are you talking about? You're going to be wasting your life. This is never going to work for you. And, you know, this is a dream. And are you telling me you're going to give up this good job that you, I mean, she's I let her say all, and she was screaming because everybody in the clinic had came to her door and was listening to the conversation. So that's how loud she was, that everybody was hearing it. And I let her say all she had to say. And when she was finished, I said, baby, I gotta go.
Yes.
Thank you. It's been wonderful, but I gotta go.
And I mean, and that was a nice set of seasons that you were on Mysteries of Laura. So if you wouldn't have done that, and you would have stayed because of what people assumed would have been the good job, you really would have missed out on something great. I want to ask you.
The thing about that is, though, Tamika, is that I was very clear about my first job was acting. My first job was my creative life. My first job was to the gifts that God had given me. My nurturing side was my side hustle. You know, I'm a nurturer. I don't have kids, but I'm a nurturer. I'm definitely a mommy, you know, at heart. And so that was my second job. And when I was at work, I did my work. You know, people felt loved. I still kept in touch with some of my clients that I helped birth babies and stuff like that. But acting was the first job. And I let whoever I worked for, I let them know that. So it wasn't a surprise. She knew. She was just a little salty, bless her heart.
Well, how did you manage dealing with naysayers? I mean, it sounds like, especially by that time, you know, hey, you have the opportunity to work on Mysteries of Laura. Just the cast alone, it's like, girl, I'm definitely not staying here. You know what I mean? It's like, do you not watch TV to know who I'm going to be, you know, starring alongside of? But even before that, how did you learn how to manage naysayers and dealing with people who really just wanted to squash your dream?
To be honest, I didn't really have that. Most of the people that were surrounding me were very, very positive. And I also check, you know, people who I hang out with and people that I communicate with, that I keep a positive spirit around me. Because being an artist, we are very emotional creatures. We're very sensitive creatures. I'm very sensitive to spirit. I come from a long line of healers, you know, so I'm real sensitive to spirit. So I try and check, you know, who I'm around, and who is inputting into me. You know, that goes as far as dating as well, you know.
Hello.
You know, ding-a-ling is nice, but I'm not mad, you know, but it has to be the right one, you know, like,
it gotta be the right one.
Yeah, because some people just like having dingling. I ain't mad, you know, just right beside you. As long as it's filled, that space is filled, they're good. But you know, like it, especially okay. So, like Erykah Badu says about her gift, you know what I mean? I feel the same way. This is my baby, and it's so funny because for a long time I decompartmentalized my life. So I wouldn't allow people, especially somebody I was dating, into certain parts of my life. If you ask people about me, some people say, oh yeah, she make amazing jewelry. Somebody said, oh yeah, she can sing. And somebody said, oh, she's an amazing comedian. But people don't know all of who I am a lot of times. And I wanted to stop doing that. So now I'm looking for somebody who can, you know, appreciate all of me and handle all of me and still being a man in his own right, you know?
Yeah.
So you the king at home, but baby, when we go outside, you got to have a little room for mama, you know?
Gotta have a little bit of room. And, you know, so how did you get to that space when it came to relationships? Because I know for myself, went through a divorce after being married for almost 13 years. And for me, I knew I needed to be on a fast from relationships. I needed to do that for me. I needed to be comfortable in my own skin and enjoy my own company. And when I learned who I was and who God called me to be, I don't let just anybody in my space. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even get the privilege of a phone conversation because I don't have time for all of that. So what was the catalyst for you to get where you are?
So I'm not a young girl. I'm an older dame, you know what I mean? And so I think with age, we figure out what it is we want. I'm laughing to myself because when I came to New York, I was asking older women, how many before you become a hoe?
Uh-oh. Alysia said, we're not trying to be on hoe status here. Okay?
I'm just saying, like, it was some nice looking, well put together, working hard men folk out here. And I was like, you know, being on the subway, I felt like a dude, like, you, that's what you working with, really? Like, you know.
Well, how many did they tell you?
They told me 6 in rotation. I said, okay, I'm good.
Put them in rotation.
Six in rotation. So I was like, okay. But like you say, it's like, after a while, you get to know you get to know your worth, you get to know what's important to you, and also who fills up the other side of the bed, the space that
Yes.
you give room to. Who do you want to be there? And I realized that I don't want to separate my lives anymore. I don't want to hide this from you. It's a great responsibility. So not anybody just come in here and do that. You know what I mean? People get starstruck, or people feel a certain kind of way. People may get jealous. It's a lot, and so somebody has to be very, very secure with holding my purse while I'm going down the red carpet, or you know what I mean? Or they have to be very secure with themselves when all this attention is coming at me, or admirers are coming at me. They have to know that we have a relationship that nobody can break that bond. And then when we're outside, you're my protector. You know, you're that guy, and it's okay. It's a fine balance, and not everybody can handle it. I try
to handle a strong woman who has a strong sense of self, makes her own money. So it's like, look, I don't need you in my space. I want you there. And to me, that's a better space to be at. Like, I want to pray for you. I want to have you in my heart. I want you there. I don't need you for anything. Yeah. But if we can come together and make this thing work, it's gonna be dynamite.
And that's hard because some men, not all, some men, some of our juicy chocolate men, they have a little bit of a Captain Save-A-Ho complex.
So
if you don't need to be saved, they don't feel like they're worthy or that there's anything for them to do, And I don't need to be saved, but I need you.
Yeah.
I want you here, and it's a different dynamic when it's like that. And then when you figure out all the things that I am and what I do, because I write, I make jewelry, I'm working on a clothing line, I'm good at business, I'm good at connecting people. I'm helping a friend now, produce a project. And then my acting career, and then my fans who rode with me for
4 a.m.
It's a lot. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. It's a lot. And so, some people may feel like, where do I fit in? I've actually had men tell me, I'm not good enough for you.
And if they
feel what? Like, come on, let's work it out. Like, come on, they're like, I'm not good enough for you. And I'm like, dang, you just gave up on the trail? Like, I was in it for the ride and you gave up?
But actually, I'm glad that they actually had the chutzpah to even say it, because so you weren't wasting your time, because I know that you've come to understand. I mean, I'm 40 and I've come to understand if a man, and I think it's the same thing for men too, if somebody that you connect with, if they feel like they are not worthy to be on your arm, they're never going to feel that way. And you'll spend a whole relationship trying to pour into them and nurture them and make them feel that way. And there just comes a point in life where it's like, baby, like, we're grown. Let's just have a really grown situation here where we love on each other. And one thing that you said is how it's a different dynamic when you don't need somebody financially. But I don't think a lot of times men understand where their place is needed for us to be vulnerable and for us to be able to show our feelings. Because when you are a strong woman and you do have your own, you gotta have to have a certain strength and courage about you. And so the person that is allowed to see the real you, it's like, that is where you are Captain Save-A-Ho, right there.
In a lot of other ways, I want a partner. I want a partner in life. I want to build something with somebody, and it can be really tricky. It can be really tricky. Your lipstick is banging. I just want to say that.
This is my lipstick. I had some manufactured, so it's called my lip candy. I haven't thought of the name for this one, but I've been testing them out. So I'm glad you said that. So I know
it's banging.
We should call this Joy. Look, my little sister, her name is Joy. So I so love that. Yes, that's my little sissy poo face. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Let's talk about Judas and the Black Messiah. You are literally history in the making. You guys have been nominated for what, 6 Academy Awards?
6. Yeah, 6. We also won some awards with African American Filmmakers Awards. Daniel is cleaning up, I'm praying for her that she gets something too.
Come on.
Yes. And oh my God, I'm so emotional about this project. It is just Black excellence from top to bottom. We're making history with the first Black producing team in history to be nominated for an Oscar. Wow. And when I tell you the excellence, the integrity, just the love of these men, Ryan Coogler and Mr. Charles King. Oh my God. I can't tell you more. He is everything that a Black man in Hollywood should be. He's the truth. He is the truth and integrity personified. Just does everything with excellence. It's so funny because I just got a new iPhone. So I was going through my notes in my old phone, and I research people, and I will put people on my hit list, people I want to work with, people I want to come in contact with. I put Charles King in my phone in 2016.
Look at that.
And when we met on the set, it was so funny because him and Ryan stayed throughout my whole shoot. And afterwards, they were like, "Where did you come from?" And I was like, "I've been here. Look, I know about you. So you in LA, all you need to just get me on the plane. I know exactly who you are. I've been researching you for a while. I'm not stalkerish, but hey." It was like one of those, and the relationship that we've been able to build over time. This whole cast, man, Lakeith Stanfield, Daniel Kaluuya, oh my God, I would dance with him anywhere, anytime. Working with him was orgasmic.
Wow.
He only had 2 lines. And when I tell you this man was ever present, every step of the way, he never left my side the whole time we were shooting. He moved into a director's chair in the room where I was. And it was like he protected me and took care of me after that first take. And that's happened to me quite a bit in my career where people really didn't know who I was, and it's their first time working with me. After that first take, the atmosphere kind of changed.
Come on. What does that feel like? Do you feel like when you show up on set with people who don't necessarily know who you are, do you feel like you have to prove something, or you just go and you're just yourself?
I'm in character. I don't have time. I'm doing the work. But I'm a godchild, so I feel the atmosphere when it changes. I feel spirit move, you know what I mean? I hear crew laugh, or respond to me when I do my lines or something, or, I get it a lot where directors come up to you, "Oh my God, you're Alysia Joy Powell. I get to work with you today." And, hair and makeup was like, "I saw you on the schedule and I was so happy to be with you." Like when you get that, it's, because I'm just being myself. I'm not trying to be nobody else. I'm 13 more years older than you, so, I'm.
Don't you look it.
Thank you. I'm not trying to be nobody else. I'm just trying to be the best me, and I just want to play. I feel like this is almost the first time I've been able to do that, and my whole career has been like comedy. So I was like, people need to know what else I do,
Yeah.
So I flipped the script a little bit and then ended up getting the audition for this and got this. And now people get to see the other side of who I am and what I do. I mean, my friends who know me know that, but, and who've worked with me over the years, but the world didn't know, that I had another gear.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but I think anyone that has ever studied acting, I have a degree in acting. I'm not Alysia Joy Powell yet, but maybe one day I'll get a chance. But Lord, what was I getting ready to say?
You were saying about probably about the range.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about your range. I wanted to talk about if people actually paid attention to how you maneuver, even in your comedic roles, there's still depth to you there. It's with the subtle eye roll. It's the slow blink. You know what I mean? It's the way that you'll nod your head before you say something smart to somebody. You know, so there's depth.
You are a researcher, girl. You are. That's one thing that impressed me. Cause I was like, did she just contact me on my website? Like, you are a researcher. You pay attention to detail. Yeah. That is a gift. That's a gift.
Amen. And so I want to ask you this: are you classically trained, or is this just a natural gift that you have?
No, I'm not classically trained. My daddy was an actor before me.
Yeah.
I'm emotional about that because my dad passed away at the end of May. And a lot of our conversations were about the business. I just know he would be so proud right now. And I feel him around me, you know. I feel like he's making moves for me, you know, on the other side. But yeah, my dad, I get a lot of him, you know. It took a long time to control my eyes. That's something me and Daniel have in common. I was like, no, I said, you tell a whole story with your eyes. And he was like, you, he was like,
yes.
you look like my people. And I was like, you know, I was like, oh my God, the vulnerability in his eyes, my daddy's eyes. I'd be like looking, like critiquing myself. Did I do too much with my daddy's eyes?
With my daddy's eyes.
You know, like, so yeah, I get a lot from him. I get a lot from him as far as my gifts are concerned. But my dad came at a time when there wasn't a lot available with his death, you know what I mean? And so he got a little disillusioned with the business, you know. And so I'm just glad that I'm able to go further than he did, you know.
Because I was going to ask you, because I understood that, because I did research, but that he unfortunately was typecast as, you know, like the pimp, the drug dealer. What do you think he would say about you literally being in a movie that is making history? Were you in production before he passed, or did the movie come after that?
No, we did this October 2019.
Okay.
So he knew about it. I have a feeling that he kind of knew what was coming up. My dad was a doctor of metaphysics. He was very deep.
Find out
the wisdom, you know.
Yes.
And he told me, he said, you're gonna need a lot of rest. He would tell me that, like, you're gonna need a lot of rest. And I was like, Daddy, what's going on? He said, you're gonna be busy. He said, watch. He said, take all the time you need now, take a nap, because you're gonna be busy. And I was like, okay. So it's like, I think he felt what was coming. I just wish he was here to at least see this, you know, at least see the nomination. Then he could go. You know, then he could go. My dad had stage 4 cancer, and he literally did not suffer until the exact very end, you know, and that was God's grace for him. And I had him longer than anybody thought, you know, because it metastasized everywhere. It was literally everywhere but his brain. Wow. And yeah, and you know, his life was altered a bit that last year, but he did not suffer. He was not in pain until the last 2 or 3 days. Wow. So I was gracious to have him as long as I did. And he was always that voice on the other end of the phone, because I'm in New York and my family's in California. So so metaphysics, yes. So yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Yeah, because
Yes,
I
big
even asked
process.
him to hang in there for me, and I knew he couldn't. I knew he couldn't.
I mean,
Yeah.
especially with you having your nursing background, you already knew. You already knew.
No, when he said, "Oh, I got a body scan," and I said, "Yeah," and then he told me like all the places, and I said, "Well, Daddy, what you had for lunch?" Because we had to change subject. It was too much, you know.
Yeah,
I knew
yeah,
what all that meant. But he was such a trooper, and he was such a God person, and he believed in, the power of possibilities, and controlling your mind and body and all those things. And he stayed here as long as he could, and then when it was time for him to go, he went.
hmm,
It was okay. The thing is that you gotta love people while they're here.
absolutely.
And so I don't have any regrets, because I truly love my dad while he was here. And I do that with people that I love, people that I'm close to. I make sure they know I love you, I care about you, so they know. So
Yeah,
if at any point that we have to leave each other, they know that they were loved.
yeah. Mary says, "What a beautiful tribute to him." Yeah, you played Miss Winters in the movie, and um, that scene, like you didn't even have to cry in the scene for us to feel the hurt and the pain that came from her. Where did you draw on that? Was that kind of this feeling of losing your father, or where did you go when you?
No, not at all. That came from watching TV. You know what I mean? I mean, I get that asked that question a lot, and usually by people of other hues, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So the thing is that when we're traumatized again by seeing police brutality,
Hmm.
we don't have to go far. You know what I mean? To have to feel that grief, to
Yeah.
feel that hurt, um, to be traumatized again when somebody has to explain their part in it. Why are we talking about Breonna Taylor, and why her boyfriend was indicted for defending himself? Why did the police officer sue him when he knew it wasn't Kenneth's gun that shot him, that he was shot by one of the police officers,
Yeah.
but he's gonna sue Kenneth? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
when you're mad, and I mean mad, you're enraged, and then you hurt at the same time, over and over and over again. You don't have to go far. I researched this and wasn't sure if Jake Winters was a real person or not,
Right. Yeah.
but the day that I got the set, I found an article about him, and it told me who he was. And so I contacted everybody I came in contact with. I said, "Can I tell you about my son?" And
That
then
listen, you just gave everybody a master class in acting, just right there with that little nugget.
you felt it. People, it was thick.
Hmm.
At the time we said that, you could feel the air was thick
Hmm.
in that little kitchen. And then the day we were shooting, the Botham Jean verdict was coming in for the police officer that killed Botham Jean in his own house, eating ice cream
Eating ice cream.
with a man of possibilities, and was living his best life, and was making his country and his mama proud.
Hmm.
Cut down in his own house, in his drawers, eating ice cream. How far do I have to go to experience that level of grief? I
Yeah.
don't. So even though I was playing Pauline Winters, I was really carrying all the mothers on my
Hmm.
back. I carried them on my back, and I could feel spirit with me, and I felt people protecting me. It was one time when we were in hair and makeup, and Daniel and his crew was in there, and they're having fun. And you got to keep it light when we're doing stuff this heavy. There's times when you gotta keep it light and everything. And I forget the young lady's name, but she was doing my makeup, and she's like, "Hey, there's an actress over here working." because she saw me cloak it on. She saw me like put it on like a coat. And she was like, oh, and this mama surrounded me with crystals. I felt her praying over me. You know what I mean? Like a spirit of protection.
Yeah.
Because she saw it, she felt it, that I was putting it on, you know. And yeah, it was a whole moment. This whole shoot, it was a whole experience. And then after the fact, and Mark Clark's family reaching out to me, and I have continual conversations with Chairman Fred Jr. I adore him. I totally adore him. And Mama Akua, aka Deborah Johnson, and Jake Winter's family, you know, being in touch with Kip, his cousin. It's life-giving.
Wow.
This role keeps giving back. The first week was very emotional. I really couldn't do nothing but just be, you know, doing the interviews and meeting family and everything. It was quite overwhelming, you know. But things have kind of slowed down a little bit, and I'm a little clearer.
Let's pick back up again with you guys having all these Academy Award nods. I mean, with you talking about, and I was hoping that you would go there. So that's why I wanted to give you a very generic question, because I was hoping you would go there. Did you feel some type of responsibility to showcase what every mother in America feels? Even if we haven't lost somebody, there's that fear that our sons are going to go out there and maybe not come back. You felt a responsibility?
Huge responsibility. And I believe all of us did. All of us had a huge responsibility to this project because of the subject matter. You know, it was a huge responsibility to carry this, to bring excellence, even though we're all artists of excellence. I think that was just, you know, in their choosing of who they wanted for what. You know, I think I may have been a little bit of a surprise, but I don't think they were expecting all of that for me and for that scene. But all of us had a huge responsibility to this. It's important, you know, this is our legacy, this is our history, and it says a lot to who we are and what our power is, that people keep denying us who we are. You know, that you cut off the nose of a sphinx because you don't want people to know those are Black folks who did that they still can't figure out how they put those stones together to make a building that stands for billions of years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is power. Black folks are powerful. We don't know it though. And people have hashtags like we're Black girl magic or unicorns. No, we really are.
Yeah.
And that's what they're afraid of, that we will figure out how magical we are.
Alysia, how do you select roles going forward, right? Like, how do you pick your projects? Because you're at this level, and now we had a president that resurrected racism to a whole nother level in this country. It's more prevalent again. And so, you know, do you go for the bag? You know, are you worried about the money, or is it about the art now?
I'm an artist first. So there's definitely a combination because we do have to pay rent. But it's been interesting, my career, because I have had a great career. You know, my resume is a decent resume, but my career has been very very horizontal and not very vertical, should I say, if you understand that. So I am hoping that now there will be some vertical, you know, and people will start giving me what I'm worth. I haven't had that, even though I've been the girl that people say, I'm not watching that unless she's on there, you know, or people say, oh, you're a scene stealer, you know.
In anything you're in.
I care about the work, you know, I care about the work. And so usually the mantra is, if you do the work, the money will come. But sometimes with us, that doesn't happen.
Right.
So you got to make a change, or you got to do a different fight, or you got to have better representation, or, I just never had anybody fight for me on that side of the table. So I haven't been privileged to receive what other people have, but I've been blessed too, because I've always had, a hustler mentality, and I've always had those other gigs, like I'm a doula now, I'm going to be birthing a baby on Friday.
My sister Joy is a doula.
Really?
She is. Yeah, she's a doula in Baltimore. Yeah.
I started being a nurse and I became a doula.
So you still love being very connected to people. That's a beautiful thing.
I do because I'm a nurturer too, I just had a call, from someone. I gave her birth in Coney Island, and that's a social worker. She calls me frequently. I got something for you. So I'm helping a mom with twins now, trying to get through some things. And then, like I said, then I have a birth on Friday as well. But I heard Judge Hatchett's story about her daughter-in-law and how she died in childbirth. And because I'm a nurse, I knew what happened. I knew it was incredible neglect. After somebody has a baby, our job is to check the fundus, the bottom of the uterus, to make sure it's firm. And women who've had babies, you know what I'm talking about. You got to massage that thing so it gets firm. If not, you could bleed out.
Yes.
They didn't check her for 8 hours. And that's exactly what happened. By the time they actually got her on a table, she was gone. And such a brilliant soul. And the attending snuck out the back door and had the residents tell the family that she was no longer here.
What?
And this happened to Judge Hatchett. Like, if this happens to Judge Hatchett in a hospital in Beverly Hills, it can happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
So
wow.
I kind of became the activism part and wanted to make sure the mortality rate of women of color did not decrease on my watch. That I was out there helping women with childbirth. And like I said, I'm kind of a baby whisperer. So I got back into that. And so I am a full spectrum doula, meaning I help with birth and afterbirth. So I'm before, during, and after. I'm also a lactation counselor certified by New York. And I just became certified in herbalism. So I'm healing the people with herbs as well.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, you and my sister are like, y'all are kindred spirits, for real, for real.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing about the fact that you actually are seeing things that need to change, and you're actually being active in trying to be the change. Because I think a lot of times we talk a lot. We can say a whole lot, but saying something doesn't affect change. You have to actually get out there and do something. Yeah.
Well, but it can be difficult sometimes to figure out what is my role. Like I'm not the one that's gonna be out there marching. I'm not, that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to jail,
Right.
I can't have nobody tell me when I could pee and when and have 100 people in the room while I'm peeing.
Come on.
That life ain't for me, but I can fight on another level. And you have to figure out where your fight is, what's appropriate for you. And only you can say what that is. I've just happened to find mine,
I love that. So we do have a question. Folks, if you want to ask a question, you got to do it right now so I can let Alysia go so she can get some rest or whatever it is that she has to do.
I'm here. You got me, Tamika. I'm here. So let's.
Okay, I'm about to say, because Alysia might have to go and deliver somebody's baby or something, So
I'm here till Friday. No.
Right. Let's see here. So Danny Ray Smith says, would you ever consider writing a movie about your relationship with your father? I think a lot of people could relate.
Oh, that is so funny because I wrote a one-woman show about, and there's a monologue in there about me and my mom. Actually, there is something in there about me and my dad. And it's it's called Different Shades of Love. So it's really like a love story, how I fell in love with the arts, and because my dad, when I was a child, I was stalked by a child molester when I was 5 years old. Yeah.
What?
I was stalked by a child molester. Yeah. What he was doing, we lived in a really big house with windows and everything. I had my own room and everything. We had a pool. So the backyard, I guess, was accessible. We lived in Altadena, where it's like the foot of the mountains, where there were nature and it was a waterfall and horses and stuff. I lived in an amazing place. I grew up in an amazing community. So, it wasn't until I was in high school that we even started locking our doors. So this guy was coming to my window and peeping in my window for like 3 nights straight. And it took the third night before I found my voice and screamed. And then my dad chased him down and caught him. And then the police said, oh, he just got out of jail for molesting a 9-year-old girl. And I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm about that age, you know? Yeah. So after that, I went everywhere with my dad. So my dad, whenever he went on gigs, he went to the studio, Universal Studios, or he was doing a play at the Venice Beach Playhouse, or, cast parties. My dad taught me how to drink so I can have intelligent conversation and not get drunk,
Come on. Yes.
So I was my dad's writing buddy. And that's kind of how I fell in love with the arts. I would read his scripts. We would smoke pipes in his study and read scripts and stuff. So that's kind of how I got introduced to that. So that's in my one woman show. And then there's a monologue too about me and my mom, because it was a little rough,
Yeah. Yeah. Did he want you to go into acting, or did he fully?
No.
Okay.
No, my family did not want me to be in the business at all. And it's because I was born very open, very loving child, and very innocent. That no place for Hollywood, So they was like,
right.
Not this baby. But God gives you gifts.
Yeah.
And he brings you full circle with yourself. So, God has a way of bringing you back around, And so I've only been in the business professionally 25 years. So I'm a little bit of a late bloomer, but I started off in the gospel industry as an artist, and then I started managing artists. So I came in by that way.
Oh, what do you think about gospel music now?
I haven't really heard a lot. Kirk Franklin moves me every time I hear him.
Yes.
Because he just emanates from his soul, really. When I was traveling and doing gospel, I got into it because it moved me. It said something to me. It was everything. And my first love really was music before acting. Music was my first love. And then the business part. Then you start figuring out the business part. And you go,
yes. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I love music. Music's my first love. So I love music. Love music, and gospel especially, because there's a certain thing in there that moves you. Music has to speak to me. So music across the board, I'm disappointed with some of the artists today, because we have sold our souls to the devil, not understanding what the repercussions are. C Murder is a very good example of that. He's not about that life, but they convicted him of murder by using his lyrics against him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You come full circle with what you're selling. You know what I mean? So what are you selling? What are you willing to give up for this little dollar that they're dangling in front of your face? And sometimes you don't understand what those consequences are.
Sometimes, and well, especially now with the push for social media and everybody wants to be an influencer, I think people are just so irresponsible sometimes with what they share with the world. You have to be selective on what you are sharing, because especially now you leave a social media imprint that will truly follow you,
and people hold you accountable. People will hold you accountable to what you're saying, what you're doing.
Yeah. Yes, they will. So, okay, the one woman show. are you going to be producing that on a big stage? Are you going to kind of put that in production and everybody can see it? What are we going to be doing with that?
I was thinking about doing like a podcast of it
Yeah.
because obviously we can't touch stage anytime soon, you know? So right before the pandemic, I was approached by a producer. And that was crazy because I like aqua aerobics. So I was going to the gym and doing aqua aerobics. And the instructor at my aqua aerobics class told us a little story. Come to find out, she was a producer of theater. She had a theater company. And I was like, Jesus. Like, for real? In my aqua aerobics class, for real?
Right.
So but yeah, she wanted to produce me and get it up on its feet right before this all happened. So I still have plans to like turn that into like a podcast.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask you with are you going to kind of go to the space where you're having to produce roles that you would like to be in to make sure?
Right.
Yeah, you right. Yeah.
But the thing is that this is the crazy part. When I write, I don't see myself.
Gotcha.
When I've written, people say, I'm writing to create a vehicle for myself. I've never written anything where I saw me in it. I see the characters very clearly, and I've even tried to insert myself in it, and I don't see it that way. I don't know, it's weird.
I don't think that's weird. I mean, I think you're an artist and you're creative, and actually I think it's good because it just gives you a whole nother, honestly, let's talk about from a business perspective, it's a whole nother revenue stream for you to be able to write and produce, and you're just kind of getting fat off of something that you created. You know what I mean? Like we just get financially fat off of those things. So I actually think that's a pretty cool thing. And I think it's pretty selfless too. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with creating things that we can star in, direct, produce. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I also think it is nice to create opportunities for other people too.
I just want to tell love stories.
Oh,
I just want to, I am so about love. That's my family's maiden name. My mom's name is Love. Yeah, my family's name is Love. I love Powell's too, Daddy. But yeah, my family's name is Love. And that's what I'm about, is about love. Like, oh my God, Sylvie's love. That story was just, did nobody get shot or did nobody get killed? Nobody was strung out on drugs. It was just, it reminded me of Barbara Streisand's The Way We Were.
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my watch list. I don't watch a lot of TV.
You have to watch it. It is a glorious.
It's on my watch list.
So glorious. Like the richness of the characters and then their journey. It's beautiful.
Well, it'll be nice to see something where people don't get shot, because I love stories. I'm a writer. What about writing books? Have you thought about writing some love stories? Actual books?
I don't know. It might be a little erotic.
There's a whole market for that. Are you kidding?
There is.
Yeah, there's a huge market for that. And then you put it on Audible, so then people can get the audio book. Listen.
My friend has been talking to me about writing like a children's book. But I don't know, because I think the way I was brought up in the industry, that I see things in pictures. And that's why, I screenwrite, because I'm in New York, you would think I would write a play. But when I write, I see pictures. I see shot selections. I see aerial shots and all this. So I just see it all at one time like that.
Maybe you're going to write children's, some cartoons and children's movies. And we're just speaking stuff,
Tamika. Huh? You keep on speaking things in the atmosphere.
I see your name. It's just that type of name, Alysia Joy Powell. Like, you need a hair care line. Listen, I just could see it, like, scroll across. Girl, we just need to put it everywhere. How can people connect with you? How can they stay up to date on everything that you have going? I'm gonna make sure I throw up your website and all that great stuff.
Alysia Joy Powell on everything, on Twitter, on Facebook, on IG, and there's my website.
Yes. You guys, I want you to definitely please stay connected to Alysia Joy Powell. I saw somewhere where people were calling you a rising star, and I'm like, yo, she's she's already a star. I mean, what
Aw.
do you think? How do you feel? Do you feel like you're rising, or do you feel like you are that?
I think I was born with stuff, but I do feel like I'm rising because the possibilities are now opening for me.
Mm.
Before, when I was trying to kick down the door or scratching at the door saying, let me in, let me in. I think now people are saying, okay, okay.
She's got the goods.
Yeah.
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 How can we get your jewelry? I love jewelry.
Oh my gosh. Now that's gonna come a little later, but I do send little gifts. So if you send me your address, I'll make something for you.
Hey, listen, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And I'll make sure it's not at 4 a.m. Then again, it might be. Who knows? But we're connected now. We're connected now. So
Yes.
listen, I so appreciate you just hanging out with me tonight. And I just pray that God just continues to just explode what is happening in your life. I mean, legitimately, I really can see your name just on so many different outlets. Like I said, I mean, I definitely see it in books and children's books and the cartoons and the movies. I really can see you just doing so many things. And I love how humble you are, and just how human you were tonight. So thank you so much for being human and like sitting down as my sister and just connecting with me. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
My love to you. And my prayer is that you find all the things that make you tinkle, that make you have stardust and make you happy. You deserve it. You deserve to have happiness in your life and somebody who supports your dreams. So my blessings to
Thank
you.
you. Same to you. I can't wait one day. I'm like, girl, hello. Mary says that she loved your transparency.
Thank
And
you.
great interview. Oh, Maria missed it live, but Maria, you definitely got to go back and watch it because it was so good. We got to the nitty gritty. Miss Mary says, "Love that tinkle." Listen, we don't. We got to have the full experience, okay? I'm gonna be waiting for the tinkle experience, and I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna tinkle on, girl. Listen, friends, thank you guys so much for joining me for the Tamika Hall Show. Listen, this has been an incredible week, right? I've been telling you guys since last week we had Alysia Joy Powell here. You probably didn't believe me, but I never lied to you. If you are just joining, make sure that you go back and watch the replay. Make sure that you share this out. Make sure that you follow Alysia on all of her social media. Listen, she's okay with saying she's on the rise. For me, I was like, yo, you're already here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, make sure you guys stay connected. As always, remember that I love you. Remember that you were created to make God famous, and He has anointed you to do hard things. And you guys have a blessed night.